Girl, this episode is for you. You know that you are running a mile a minute. You are trying to do all the things. That's literally what I say in the introduction of this podcast, girl. We are trying to do all the things, and you know you have not practiced pausing the way you should. And so, by the end of this episode, I'm going to prove to you why you need to slow your life down long enough to pay attention to what's happening. I'm going to give you 5 reasons you need to practice pausing. So come on, let's go check it out. Transformational speaker, a life coach, and a licensed therapist. And personally, well, I'm a wife, a mommy to 3 girls, and a pastor's wife, just to name a few. Girl, I'm over here doing all the things while trying to stay in shape and keep my skin clear. But the truth is, I don't want to be known for being busy. I think that's a scheme that somebody set up. No, I want to be known for living a life that is in perfect alignment with what God intended. And I want to help you do the same. So it's with that in mind, I'd like to welcome you right here to Intentional Conversations with Robin May and friends. Over here, we're creating a safe space to have real conversations with real women on real topics. This is a judgment-free zone where we can be vulnerable and honest and curious about our lives so that we can elevate not just what we do, but who we are. So if any of that resonates with you, again, welcome to our safe space. This is Intentional Conversations with Robin May and friends. Hey, friend, welcome to Intentional Conversations with Robin May and friends. Listen, if you are a returning guest, I am so happy you keep coming back. You are my girl. I want you to go ahead and leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube and say, Robin, I am here all the time. DM me on Instagram, Robin May Online, and let me know, girl, I'm always hanging out with you on the podcast. I want to hear from you. If this is your first time here, you are my special guest. I want you to put in the chat if you're watching this on YouTube or DM me on Instagram and say, I'm your special guest. Like I'm going to hear you saying it like that. I'm your special guest. Listen, if this is your first time, I want you to know that sometimes on Intentional Conversations with Robin May and friends, I have one of my girls here. But today and other times, it's just me because we got to have a conversation, girl. We have to talk. But first, I want to make sure if you haven't already, if you're watching on YouTube, will you please subscribe? We are literally about 20 something people away from 500 subscribers. And I definitely want to hit 500 subscribers before the end of the year. So can you go ahead and click subscribe? If you're watching this or listening to this on your favorite podcast app, can you go ahead and register or subscribe? Not register. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. And I always want y'all to follow me on Instagram because I'm always in them DMs. Y'all be hitting me up in my DMs. And so make sure you're following me on Instagram, Robin May Online. Okay. All of that's out of the way because, girl, we got to talk. Okay. Y'all remember over the last 2 weeks, we've done something a little bit different. About 2 weeks ago, I did an episode on how to do your work. And I truly believed that that particular episode was one for you to really spend some time reflecting. So much so that for the next episode, honey, I just ran it back. I said, head on back over there because y'all didn't get it. You didn't get everything you needed to get. And so I really had that episode go for 2 weeks. And I really hope that you did that. I really hope that you listened to it. I hope that you took notes. I hope you're understanding what it means to do your work. You know, we say the people who speak or therapists or coaches, we say phrases, but I think sometimes we have to really break it down. And we hear this idea of doing your work all the time, but doing your work really takes intention. And so, piggybacking off of doing your work today, I want to share with you the power of pause, the power of pause, the power of pausing. Sis, you are going to have to slow your life down. Now, I already know, girl, don't get mad at me. I'm telling you, I already know. You have a lot of balls in the air. There are a lot of things that you're juggling. Girl, I already know folks are calling on you and demanding your time. But I want you to hear me. Nobody, now listen, I had a couple of speaking engagements this weekend, and so I still got my preacher on me. And so I need you to go ahead and repeat after me, and let's just pretend I can hear you. Nobody, somebody say nobody. Nobody is going to give you permission to prioritize you, sis. If you need permission, let me give it to you. I am giving you permission to prioritize you. And so, in all seriousness, if you are going to curate, I use that word intentionally. If you're going to curate or create the life you long for, it is going to require that you slow your life down long enough to pay attention to what is happening. You want to pay attention to what is working and what isn't working. And you will not know it if you do not slow down. And I want you to incorporate pausing into your life like a life hack. I want you to incorporate pausing with intention. And I'm not talking about once a year when you go on a retreat with your girls. I am talking about consistently creating space in your life where you slow down, where you take a deep breath and you prioritize your soul. Okay. So today I'm going to share with you 5 reasons you need to do. So by the end of this podcast, girl, one of these 5, really all 5 of them, but by the end of this podcast, at least one of these 5 reasons are going to resonate with you. But again, I think all of them will resonate with you because all of them are critically important. So go ahead and pause right now. Let's go ahead and incorporate the pause right now. Go ahead and pause right now and text your girlfriend and say, have you listened to Robin's podcast? Go ahead and DM her on Instagram and say, girl, you need to listen. Send her the link, girl, because you know she's not going to do it. Send her the link. Tell her to go to robinmayonline.com/podcast. You know, I always invite you to invite your girls into the conversation because it's better when we have somebody in our life to hold us accountable, somebody that we can talk these conversations over with. And so I want you and your girls to do that. All right. So, again, today, I'm sharing with you the 5 reasons you should practice the power of the pause. Let's say it like that. 5 reasons you should practice the power of the pause. We're not gonna be here longer. I'm not gonna keep you for a long time, but ain't that what the preachers say? I'm not gonna keep you for a long time. So let's go ahead and go. Here is number 1. The first reason you should practice pausing, intentionally incorporating pausing into your life, the first reason is to ensure that you are still on the right track. What do I mean? Okay, let's break this down. What do I mean by ensuring that you're still on the right track? Many times we are going on our life journey because, sis, we only get one. We only get one life, and it is up to us to live life intentionally, fully engaged. That is the whole point of intentional conversations with Robin May. I'm here to help you elevate not just what you do, but who you are. I'm here to help you live intentionally. I'm here to help you fully engage. And so you only get one life. And as you are on the journey of your life, I know what often happens to so many of us. We look up, and this comes up often in my coaching and counseling practice. We look up and it's been 10 years and we've been doing the same thing. And we look back over those 10 years and we're like, I cannot believe I've been doing this, whatever this is for you, this long. Or how did I stay in this situation this long? It's like it goes by so quickly, and we look back and we have some frustration about finding ourselves in this same space. And I don't know what that is for you, but I think you can relate to that. So, one of the reasons you want to practice the pause is because you want to make sure that you are on the right track. I got a little bit distracted earlier because what I wanted to say is when I talk about practicing the pause, I'm not talking about once a year when you go away with your girl on a retreat or once a year when you're writing down your vision for the year. I am talking about you incorporating pausing into your life periodically throughout your year. So I want you to carve out, and honey, I know some of it is really carving. I'm talking about getting a knife and trying to figure out what I can carve away. And so I want you to do it at least weekly. I want you to find at least once a week that you're finding at least, girl, watch this. All I'm saying is, can you find at least, I really want you to do more than this, but at least 15 minutes a week. A week. You really could do an hour a week, sis. You could do an hour a week. But for some of you, I know I'm pushing you. At least 15 minutes a week where you are slowing down. You're looking back over your week. You're looking at the week coming up. And you're trying to make sure what you are having on your plate, what you're having on your list, what you are prioritizing, you're trying to make sure that that is still in alignment with what you want your life to be. And then at least once a month, I want you to give yourself a full day, at least once a month, where you give yourself a full day to just think about how this month has gone. I want you to intentionally incorporate pausing into your life, pausing specifically for reflection. Let me say that, because surely you're pausing to spend time with Jesus, right? Because most of you who are watching this and listening to this are women of faith. So surely you're carving out time to be in prayer, to study the word, to hear what God has to say to you. I know you are carving out some time to at least do 5 jumping jacks. You know, I'm not doing no jumping jacks, but I'm going to run at least 3 times a week. I know you're exercising. I know you are finding time to spend with Jesus. And I know you are finding time to go to work. You finding some time for those things, okay? But when I talk about practice the pause, I want you to find time where you are just breathing, reflecting, journaling, observing, examining your story and your life. Okay, so the first reason is because you want to make sure you're on the right track. Now, this definitely happens when you're doing your vision planning for the year. When you're writing out your vision plan for the year and you're looking at what you want to see happen, what happened the previous year, that's a great time. But you also want to do that periodically throughout the year. You want to stop and say, in my relationships, am I still on the right track with my platonic friendships, with my romantic relationship, with my children? In my relationships, am I on the right track? Am I still prioritizing what needs to be prioritized? When it comes to your finances, am I still on the right track? Honey, when it comes to your career, am I still doing what I believe that I'm supposed to be doing? In the places that you're serving, am I still serving in the way that I think I should be serving? The first reason you want to practice pausing is because you want to make sure that you are on the right track, girl. I don't want you to look up and 15 years have gone by and you realize that 5 years prior you were supposed to take a right turn and you missed the indication that it was time to shift. I want you to understand that if you don't slow your life down, you won't realize when you've gotten off track. And listen, getting off track doesn't mean that you're going totally in the wrong direction. It could just mean that you aren't incorporating some things that need to be incorporated into your life. So, number one, out of the 5 reasons you should practice the power of the pause is that you want to ensure that you are still on the right track in every area of your life. Let me say this. In the course that I've created called the Life Course, I help you create a life guide, a life Guide. I help you create a life guide. And in that life guide, one of the things that you are going to do is categorize your entire life. And then you're going to write a vision for each of those categories. What is your vision for your family? What is your vision for your spiritual life? What is your vision for your health? What is your vision for your career? And not only do you write your vision, you then identify the steps that is going to take to make that vision come to pass. Then not only are you going to do that, then you're going to write out, how will I know that I'm successful? That is how you are able to go back and review to make sure you are on the right track. If you're interested in investing in the life course, just go to youcanlivelife.com. Youcanlivelife.com. All right. So that's number one. 5 reasons you should practice the power of the pause. Number two, to get rid of the junk you've accumulated along the way. Has anybody ever had to move? Have you ever had to move, right? And you start having to pack, and you're like, where did all this stuff come from? Why do I still have this, y'all? I remember many years ago, we experienced a flood where we lost just about everything we owned, y'all. It was just a very challenging time in our life. And I remember we had to get out of the house and get rid of the stuff that was still there. It was all just about ruined. So we had a lot of friends who came over and helped. And y'all, I was low key embarrassed because there was just stuff in my house that now all of these people, so it was okay if it was my closest friends, but some of these people were acquaintances. Thank God they were willing to help us, but they were able to see all this stuff I had accumulated. Whew, when I think back on it, it is really embarrassing. And a lot of it I began to see was me just holding on to stuff. And so many times in our life, we're just holding on to things. And when you practice pausing, you're able to shift through, sort through all of the stuff or junk in your life to see what I need to keep, to see what I need to let go of, to see what needs to get put back over there. Some of the stuff you're carrying is not that you got to get rid of it altogether. You just need to put it to the side for a moment. And now I want you to understand I am talking about stuff, but I'm also not talking about stuff because some of the things you've accumulated are not tangible items. Some of the things you've accumulated along your journey are some mindsets, some wounds, some disappointments, some grief. And some of that is weighing you down. And if you don't pause, you won't even realize, oh my God, I'm still carrying that situation that happened 5 years ago, or I'm holding on to this relationship and it's no longer serving me. You've accumulated some stuff along the way. And if you want to live the life that God created for you, if you want to live life, live intentionally, fully engaged, you are going to have to let go of some stuff. And many times, because we haven't stopped to examine our lives, we don't realize we've accumulated junk along the way, and that junk is weighing us down. So, the second reason I want you to practice pausing is because I want you to look over your life and see what you are holding on to that you may need to let go of. Now, sometimes that's going to require you getting some help from somebody who can help you see. Now, sis, you don't need that anymore. Let me tell you, my daughters are so good for this, especially well, all three of them. I was going to say especially the older ones, the older two, but all three of them, because I have three daughters. One is 16, one is 14, and one is 9. Well, that 9-year-old is my whole baby. She is my whole baby, and she's my last baby. And there are things, y'all, I can remember. I think I did a reel about this on Instagram, or at least I put it in my stories a while ago. But she had this. See, you, if you were watching this on YouTube, you're gonna see I'm getting emotional even thinking about it. But she had this Doc McStuffins lounge chair. And I can remember when Santa Claus brought it for her. And Santa Claus brought it for her and set it in front of our fireplace. And we were in Dallas for Christmas. So, of course, we set it out there before. Why am I acting like Riley finna listen to this podcast? Like, don't worry about it. So we set it out. We got in the car to go to Dallas. We ran back in the house, set it in front of the fireplace because we knew when we came back, we wanted her to get this Christmas gift. Well, I remember when Riley was ready to give it away. I know when she was ready to give it away, and I was shook. I did not want her because it reminded me so much of her being a baby. And Riley and my other two daughters were like, Mommy, she can't even sit on it anymore. She's too big for it. Like, and I was like, I know, but she could put her dolls on it. And they were like, well, Riley doesn't play with dolls. I don't know. I was having such a hard time. But I was tripping about a Doc McStuffins lounge chair. What are you having a hard time letting go? You know I was gonna bring it back to you, honey. And you know I was gonna bring it right on back to you. We're gonna get off me, sis. This is about you. I was tripping about a Doc McStuffins lounge chair. What are you tripping about? What are you still trying to hold on to? Because it maybe had some good memories for you back then. You know, one of the things that comes up often when I'm having these kind of conversations is that many of us are holding on and using strategies that did work when we were a child or they did work back in the day, but those strategies are not working for you now. And you're holding on to them, but they're actually sabotaging you now and you don't even realize it. I'm going to get off of you, girl. I'm going to get off of you. Let's keep going. So, the first reason you should practice pausing is to ensure you're still on the right track. The second reason is to get rid of junk you've accumulated along the way. Here's the third reason. The third reason you want to practice pausing is so that you can rest and refuel. So that you can rest and refuel. Life be lifing, but God. Shameless plug. We're having a 20% sale right now on all of our gear, all of the t-shirts and hoodies. Girl, go to robinmayonline.com. You'll see it pop up and you can get 20% off of our gear, especially the Life Be Life and But God hoodie. So, life is tough, sis. And I know you are a bad chick. You are a bad chick. But even you need to rest and get refueled. And if you keep running, it suggests that you are superhuman. And ladies, aren't we tired of the myth of the superwoman? We're tired of that. And the truth is, let me reframe that. We're tired of it the way it has been presented because you are a superwoman. You are a bad chick because you are a woman of God and God does put his super on your natural and it makes you a superwoman. But the idea of the superwoman being the one who never has to be refueled is a myth. You need to be refueled. You need to be around people who are going to pour into you. You need to go to events that are going to pour into you. You need to listen to resources like this that are going to pour into you. You need to find time to rest, to breathe, so that you can go on a little bit further. So the third reason you need to practice pausing is because you're pouring out. I want you to literally see yourself as a pitcher and a pitcher, a pitcher, and you are pouring out. Eventually you will be empty. And my question to you, and I'm going to really pause and ask this question. My question to you is, how do you get refueled? And you cannot get refueled on the go. Baby, somebody chop that up and make that a reel. You cannot get refueled on the go. It is going to require that you pause and allow yourself to be filled back up. Girl, you you know you need to go ahead and make that a reel. Who's gonna react to this? But whoever reacts to this, does a reel with it, and tags me in it, I'm gonna give you 50% off one item in the store. So make sure you DM me. You got to do it. Let me, Lord, because y'all don't be playing with me. You got to do it by October 20th. Okay, I'm gonna put a date on it, October 20th, 2023. But go ahead, make that a reel. But in all seriousness, I want you to practice the power of the pause so that you can rest, first of all, so that you can rest. Can I say it again? So that you can rest. I feel led to share a scripture with y'all. And this was not in my notes to do, but I do want to share this scripture. It just hit me really hard. My word for 2023 is flow, to be in the flow with God. And all of us, many of us, know the scripture that says, "My yoke is easy, my burden is light." But I love it in the Message translation. Listen to this. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. The third reason you want to practice pausing is so that you can learn how to take a real rest. Somebody say amen. All right, let me give you the fourth reason. The fourth reason you want to practice the power of the pause is to give your heart and your mind time to align. You want to give time for your heart and your mind to align. You know, as women, we often have to put our feelings to the side to take care of business. My sister and I call it putting it on the shelf. We're just going to put it on the shelf. We'll get to it later. But you keep putting it on the shelf, keep putting it on the shelf, and eventually that shelf is falling over because there's too much stuff on it, honey. You want to give your heart and mind time to align. I had an opportunity to speak at a conference this weekend called the Bootstrapping Redefined conference. And one of the things that I reminded the attendees is that we are mind, body, and soul, or mind, body, and spirit. All of us are. We are mind, body, and spirit. And when you don't tend, TEND, when you don't tend to all three, you're not going to be balanced. And so if you're focused too much on the way you think and on your intellect and on taking care of business, or if you neglect that and you're only focused on your what you can do physically, if you dismiss that and you're only focused on your spirit, like something is going to be off. And so you want to make sure that you are nurturing, tending to all three, but you cannot do that on the fast pace of life. You have to create space, carve out space in your life to get realigned. Because if your mind is off, it's going to affect your body. If your spirit is off, it's going to affect your mind. If your body is off, it's going to affect how you're thinking. All of it works together, and many of us find ourselves bootlegging our life. We have watered self-care down to getting your hair done and getting your nails done. That's why I talk so much about soul care. And so you want your heart and mind to get aligned. You want to make sure that you are nurturing both your feelings and what you're processing. You want to be able to unpack. Remember this. Your feelings are not right. Your feelings are not wrong. Your feelings are simply there to give you information. It's like literally me grabbing this paper and I'm just reading it to I'm reading my feelings to understand what they're there to tell me is something that I am thinking. But if you're moving so fast, you haven't aligned the two. So the fourth reason you want to practice the power of the pause is to give your heart and mind time to align. And here's the fourth one, baby, because if the fifth one, because if those four didn't do it for you, let me make sure because I just got off on my numbers. Number one, you want to ensure you're still on the right track. Number two, you want to get rid of the junk you've accumulated along the way. Number three, you want to rest and refuel. Number four, you want to give your heart and mind time to align. And here is the fifth reason, baby. You ready for this? Isn't that a song? Y'all ready for this? What happens after that? Y'all ready for this? I can't remember. Or is it, here goes the one, two, three, and shout out to my girl Ray. When me and Ray were in high school, it was me, Ray, and Alja. Y'all don't care about this, but I'm going to tell y'all anyway. It was Robin, me, Ray, and then our friend Alda. Her middle name was Marie, so we would call her Ree, so they could all be ours. Ray, Robin, and Ree. We were in high school, y'all, and am I saying it right? Ray gonna text me and tell me if I'm saying it right. Uh, uh, one, and then comes the two to the three and four. That's what it was. And y'all, we'd be at a party. If that came on, wherever we were in the different corners of the party, we would make our way to the middle of the floor. Y'all didn't need that. Y'all did not need that, but I had to give it to you anyway. Especially y'all didn't need that when I'm going to give you number five. The fifth reason, the fifth reason you want to practice the power of the pause is because Jesus did. Jesus did. If Jesus, if the King of Kings, baby, if the King of Kings had to slow down and pause, baby, surely you do. One of my favorite scriptures talks about how Jesus was walking with the disciples, and it says, and Jesus had to take a moment to sit down and rest. Let me see if I can find, I don't have that scripture up right away. Let me see if I can find it to you for you so y'all can make sure I'm telling you the truth. Um, I knew I was gonna be able to find it for you. Okay, turn in your Bible. Study this later on. Mark chapter 6, verse 31, it says this. He said to them, come away by yourselves to a secluded place and rest a little while. Now, for those of you who are Bible scholars, you know that actually what happened after that, it says that Jesus was moved with compassion because he saw that people were in need and he went ahead and met those needs. But after he met those needs, he said, now, y'all, let's go rest. So, right there, he said, let's get away and rest. But listen to this. This is one of my favorite versions to scriptures to share with women. Listen to this. John chapter 4, verse 6 says this. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon. He was tired from the journey and he sat down by the well, sis. If Jesus needed to take a pause, girl, I know you're a bad chick, but you need to pause as well. If the King of Kings needed to take a moment to gather himself, I don't want you to feel guilty about having to do the same. So I hope that what I said at the top of our conversation has proven itself true. I said that I wanted to prove to you with 5 reasons that you needed to practice the power of the pause. So I'm going to give you all 5 reasons again. Number 1, to ensure that you are still on the right track. Number 2, to get rid of the junk you've accumulated along the way. Number 3, to rest and be refueled. Number 4, to give your heart and mind time to align. And then number 5, girl, because Jesus did. And again, how do you do that? You do it incrementally, but you do it consistently. Incrementally, but consistently. So during the week, you may only be able to carve out 15 minutes. Throughout the month, maybe you can find one day. Throughout 3 months, maybe you could take a weekend. But I want you to find time where you're intentionally taking a moment to just rest, to pause, to reflect, to think about what is working, to think about what isn't working. You get one life to live, and living a life with intention means making sure that you are carving out space to pay attention to the life that you're creating, paying attention to the life you're curating. Remember this, I've told you this before, but let me tell you again. When you don't honor your deepest values, you will always live with an undercurrent of life dissatisfaction. But many of us don't even know what our real values are because we haven't taken time to pause and pay attention. All right, sis. I hope that helped you. If it did, can you tell somebody to come check out the podcast? Can you leave a review? Can you subscribe to the channel? And can you DM me on Instagram and let me know what your biggest takeaway was? Until next time, remember, I am here to help you elevate not just what you do, but who you are. We're in this together, sis. I'll see you next time. hope you enjoyed this episode of Intentional Conversations with Robin May and friends. Listen, these conversations are to help you live intentionally, fully engaged, to help you elevate not just what you do, but who you are. And listen, I am committed to being in the trenches with you. If you haven't already, make sure you head on over to youcanlivelife.com/academy. Yes, girl, the Academy doors are open. This is where you get to dive into further conversations on our podcast topics. We get to dive into the trenches of the life course, the course that I have created to help you create the life that you long for. And we get to have monthly office hours where you can ask me any questions you have about all of this. Girl, Life Academy is where we can do life together. So head on over to youcanlivelife.com/academy.